Thomas was a bright young lawyer with a promising career ahead of him. Fresh out of law school, he had already made a name for himself with his sharp intellect and unwavering determination. One sunny afternoon, he received a package from his late grandfather's estate. Inside was a beautifully crafted, antique pin. Thomas remembered this pin well. His grandfather had always referred to it as his good luck charm. The pin was a relic from a bygone era, with intricate engravings and a timeless elegance. Holding it in his hand, Thomas felt a wave of nostalgia wash over him. His grandfather, a distinguished lawyer himself, had always spoken of the pin's significance. It had been a silent witness to many victories and moments of profound reflection. To Thomas, it was more than just a pin. It was a symbol of legacy and wisdom. Growing up, Thomas had idolized his grandfather. He remembered the stories of courtroom battles and the relentless pursuit of justice. The pin had always been present, tucked neatly into his grandfather's breast pocket, a silent guardian of their family's legal tradition. Now, as its new owner, Thomas felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility. He vowed to honor his grandfather's memory and the legacy that came with the pin. Every time Thomas picked up the pin, he felt a connection to his grandfather. It was as if the pin held a part of his spirit, guiding him through the complexities of his legal career. The weight of the pin was comforting, a tangible reminder of the principles his grandfather had instilled in him. In moments of doubt, Thomas found solace in the pin's presence, drawing strength from its history. Thomas's colleagues often remarked on the pin's unique appearance. They were curious about its origin and significance, but Thomas rarely shared its story. It was a personal talisman, a link to his past, and a source of inspiration for his future. He cherished the moments when he could sit in his office, pen in hand, and feel the wisdom of his grandfather flow through him. The pin's significance grew as Thomas faced the challenges of his profession. It was there during late-night research sessions, important client meetings, and even in the courtroom. Each time he used the pin, he felt a surge of confidence. It was more than just a tool. It was a symbol of perseverance and dedication. The pin had witnessed the triumphs and tribulations of a storied career, and now it was part of Thomas's journey. One evening, Thomas found himself reflecting on his path. The pin lay on his desk, a silent companion in his thoughts. He wondered if his grandfather had felt the same way, drawing strength from the pin during moments of uncertainty. The pin was a bridge between the past and the present, a reminder of the values that had shaped him. With a renewed sense of purpose, Thomas knew he was ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. As Thomas prepared for an important case, he felt a mixture of nerves and excitement. The pin was tucked safely into his pocket, a reassuring presence. He thought about his grandfather and the many battles he had fought with the pin in hand. Thomas knew that this case was crucial, not just for his career but for the people he was representing. The pin, with its rich history, was a symbol of hope and determination. In the quiet moments before the trial, Thomas held the pin and took a deep breath. He could almost hear his grandfather's voice, offering words of encouragement. The pin was a conduit for his grandfather's wisdom, a reminder that he was never alone. As he walked into the courtroom, Thomas felt a surge of confidence. The pin was more than just an object. It was a testament to the legacy of a great man. Thomas's reputation as a lawyer grew, and with it, the legend of the pin. Colleagues and clients alike were intrigued by its history. Some saw it as a lucky charm, while others viewed it as a symbol of Thomas's dedication to his craft. For Thomas, it was both. The pin had become an integral part of his identity, a constant reminder of the principles that guided him. It was a source of strength in moments of doubt and a beacon of hope in times of despair. Despite the challenges he faced, Thomas always felt a sense of peace when he held the pin. It was a link to his grandfather's legacy and a symbol of the enduring values that had shaped his life. The pen had witnessed countless stories, each one a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. As Thomas continued his journey, he knew that the pen would remain a cherished companion, a symbol of his unwavering commitment to justice. The day of the hearing dawned with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. Thomas knew that this case could be the turning point in his career. It wasn't just another day in court. It was a defining moment. He meticulously reviewed his notes, going over every detail, every piece of evidence, and every argument he planned to make. Despite his confidence, a part of him felt the weight of the responsibility he carried. As he dressed for the day, Thomas reached for his grandfather's pen. It lay in its usual place on his desk, gleaming softly in the morning light. Holding it, he felt a surge of strength and reassurance. This pen had been through countless battles, and today, it would stand by him once more. He slipped it into his breast pocket, feeling the familiar weight against his chest, a comforting presence as he faced the unknown. Thomas arrived at the courthouse early, determined to prepare as thoroughly as possible. The halls were quiet, the calm before the storm of legal proceedings that would soon unfold. He found a quiet corner and took out the pen, its intricate engravings a stark contrast to the modern surroundings. He couldn't help but think of his grandfather and the many times he must have felt the same mix of nerves and excitement. With the pen in hand, Thomas felt a deep connection to his family's legacy. His grandfather had faced his own challenges, had fought his own battles, and now it was Thomas's turn. The pen was more than just a symbol of luck. It was a reminder of the strength and resilience that ran through his veins. It was a tangible link to the past, grounding him in the present and inspiring him for the future. As the time for the hearing approached, Thomas gathered his materials and headed to the courtroom. The pen was a steady presence in his pocket, its weight a comforting reminder of his grandfather's wisdom and courage. He knew that he was not alone in this fight. He carried with him the legacy of a man who had taught him the true meaning of justice and integrity. This case was more than just a career milestone. It was a tribute to his grandfather's memory. The courtroom buzzed with quiet anticipation as people filed in. Thomas took his place at the front, his heart pounding with a mix of adrenaline and determination. He glanced at the pen one last time before the proceedings began, drawing strength from its presence. He was ready to give his all, to fight with every ounce of his being. This was his moment, and he would face it head-on, just as his grandfather would have done. The opposing counsel was formidable, their arguments meticulously crafted and delivered with precision. But Thomas was undeterred. He stood tall, the pen a silent testament to his resolve. He spoke with passion and conviction, weaving together facts and emotions in a way that captivated the courtroom. Every word was a tribute to his grandfather's teachings, every argument a reflection of the values he had been raised with. As the hearing progressed, Thomas felt a sense of flow, a rhythm that carried him through each point. The pen was a constant companion, its presence a steadying force. He could almost hear his grandfather's voice, offering words of encouragement and wisdom. Thomas knew that this was his opportunity to make a difference, to fight for what he believed in. And with the pen by his side, he felt invincible. The judge, a stern and imposing figure, listened intently to every argument. Thomas couldn't help but notice a flicker of interest in the judge's eyes whenever he held the pen. It was as if the judge recognized its significance, understood the weight of its history. Thomas pressed on, his confidence growing with each passing moment. He was not just a lawyer in this courtroom. He was a guardian of his family's legacy. When it was time for his closing statement, Thomas took a deep breath and looked at the pen. It was a symbol of everything he stood for, everything he had fought for. He spoke from the heart, channeling his grandfather's spirit and wisdom. The courtroom was silent, every eye fixed on him. He could feel the power of his words, the impact they were having. This was more than just a case. It was a testament to his grandfather's legacy. As the hearing concluded, Thomas felt a wave of relief and accomplishment. He had given his all, had fought with every ounce of his being. The pen, his steadfast companion, had been with him every step of the way. He knew that whatever the outcome, he had honored his grandfather's memory and upheld the values he had been taught. The pen was a symbol of that commitment, a reminder of the strength and resilience that defined him. As the hearing progressed, the courtroom was filled with a tense anticipation. Judge Harris, a man renowned for his integrity and unyielding demeanor, presided over the case. His reputation for fairness was matched only by his sternness, and many young lawyers found him intimidating. Thomas, however, felt a strange sense of calm. With his grandfather's pen in hand, he felt ready to face any challenge, even one as formidable as Judge Harris. Thomas presented his arguments with confidence, the pen a constant source of strength. He could see the judge listening intently, his sharp eyes taking in every detail. Thomas's words flowed effortlessly, each point meticulously crafted. The pen, with its rich history and personal significance, seemed to guide him. He felt as though his grandfather's spirit was with him, offering silent encouragement. At one point, as Thomas gestured with the pen, Judge Harris's gaze fixed on it. There was a fleeting moment of recognition, a flash of something in the judge's eyes that Thomas couldn't quite place. The judge's usually stern expression softened for a heartbeat, replaced by a look of deep contemplation. It was as if the pen had stirred something long buried within him, a memory or emotion that had lain dormant for years. Thomas continued, but he couldn't shake the feeling that something had shifted in the room. Judge Harris's demeanor had changed subtly, a trace of vulnerability peeking through his stoic exterior. Thomas wondered what it was about the pen that had caught the judge's attention so profoundly. He pushed the thought aside, focusing on the task at hand. Yet, the image of the judge's reaction lingered in his mind. As the hearing progressed, Thomas noticed Judge Harris stealing glances at the pen. The judge's usual air of detachment was replaced by a palpable curiosity. Thomas could sense that the pen held some significance for the judge, though he couldn't fathom what it might be. Each time the pen caught the light, it seemed to cast a spell over the judge, drawing his attention away from the proceedings for brief moments. The courtroom's atmosphere grew more charged as the day wore on. Thomas felt the weight of every word, the importance of every gesture. The pen was not just an object in his hand. It was a beacon of his resolve. Judge Harris's reaction to it added an unexpected layer of intrigue to the hearing. Thomas felt a connection forming, a silent understanding that transcended the courtroom's formalities. During a recess, Thomas found himself thinking about Judge Harris's reaction. The judge was known for his unflinching adherence to the law, for his ability to remain impartial and detached. Yet, the sight of the pen had clearly affected him. Thomas wondered about the stories that lay behind the judge's stern facade. He felt a kinship, a shared sense of the weight of legacy and the echoes of the past. When the hearing resumed, Thomas noticed that Judge Harris seemed more engaged, his focus sharp yet tinged with something personal. Thomas continued his arguments, drawing strength from the pen's presence. He could see the judge grappling with his emotions, a battle playing out behind his steely eyes. It was as if the pen had unlocked a door to a part of the judge's past, bringing forth memories long kept hidden. Thomas's final arguments were delivered with a mix of passion and precision. The pen, with its storied past, was a testament to his family's legacy of justice and integrity. Judge Harris listened intently, his earlier reaction to the pen adding a layer of depth to the proceedings. Thomas could feel the judge's eyes on him, not just as a lawyer presenting a case, but as a person carrying the weight of history. As the hearing drew to a close, Thomas felt a sense of accomplishment. He had given his all, and the pen had been a steadfast companion throughout. Judge Harris's reaction to it remained a mystery, but Thomas sensed that it had forged a connection between them. The judge's stern exterior had cracked, if only for a moment, revealing a glimpse of the man behind the robe. Thomas knew that the pin had played a part in this transformation. Judge Harris's final remarks were delivered with his usual authority, but there was a softness to his tone, a hint of the personal connection that had been sparked by the sight of the pin. Thomas felt a deep respect for the judge, a recognition of the shared burden of legacy and the pursuit of justice. As he left the courtroom, pin in hand, Thomas felt a renewed sense of purpose. The pin had not only connected him to his grandfather, but had also bridged a gap between him and the judge. The tension in the courtroom was palpable as Thomas wrapped up his final argument. All eyes were on Judge Harris, who sat stoically behind the bench, his expression unreadable. The air was thick with anticipation, the weight of the moment pressing down on everyone present. Suddenly, without any warning, Judge Harris's eyes rolled back, and he slumped forward in his seat. A collective gasp echoed through the room as the judge's gavel clattered to the floor. For a split second, there was a stunned silence. Then, chaos erupted. Lawyers, clerks, and spectators rushed forward, their concern for the judge's well-being overriding the formality of the courtroom. Thomas stood frozen, the ancient pin still clutched in his hand, his mind racing. He couldn't believe what he had just witnessed. Judge Harris, the epitome of strength and integrity, was now unconscious before them. Amidst the commotion, a call was made for medical assistance. A few people tried to revive the judge, their voices urgent and filled with worry. Thomas's heart pounded in his chest as he watched, feeling helpless. The pin, once a symbol of strength and connection, now felt like a heavy burden. He couldn't shake the feeling that it had something to do with the judge's sudden collapse, though he had no idea why. The paramedics arrived swiftly, taking control of the situation. Judge Harris was carefully lifted onto a stretcher, his face pale and expressionless. The courtroom, usually a place of order and decorum, was now filled with murmurs of concern and speculation. Thomas felt a knot tighten in his stomach. He wanted to help, to understand what had happened, but he was just as bewildered as everyone else. As Judge Harris was wheeled out, the bailiff called for order, instructing everyone to return to their seats. The hearing was officially suspended until further notice. Thomas sat down, his mind reeling. The pen lay on the table before him, a stark reminder of the surreal turn of events. He couldn't ignore the judge's reaction to it earlier, and now this sudden incident. There had to be a connection. But what? The courtroom slowly emptied as people filed out, their faces etched with concern. Thomas lingered, unable to leave just yet. He felt a strange responsibility, a need to understand what had transpired. The pin's significance seemed to have deepened, its mystery more profound. He picked it up, turning it over in his hands, the engravings catching the light. What secrets did it hold, and how did they relate to Judge Harris? Lost in thought, Thomas barely noticed when a clerk approached him. She spoke softly, explaining that the judge was stable but needed to be taken to the hospital for further evaluation. She also mentioned that the court officials wanted to speak with him. Thomas nodded, still trying to piece together the fragments of the day's events. He followed her to a small, private room where a few officials were waiting. They were as puzzled as Thomas, their faces a mix of concern and curiosity. They asked him about the pin, about its history and significance. Thomas explained its connection to his grandfather, how it had been passed down as a symbol of luck and legacy. The officials listened intently, their expressions growing more serious. They revealed that Judge Harris had a deeply personal history with a pin just like it, one that had belonged to his own father. Thomas's mind raced. Could it be the same pin? The revelation added another layer to the mystery. He couldn't fathom how his grandfather's pin and Judge Harris's father's pin could be the same. but the officials seemed convinced there was a link. They asked Thomas to wait while they gathered more information. As he sat alone in the room, the weight of the pin in his hand felt more significant than ever. Time seemed to stretch on as Thomas waited. The room was quiet, the only sound the faint hum of the air conditioning. He replayed the events of the day in his mind, from the judge's initial reaction to the pin to his sudden collapse. The connection between the two pins, if it existed, was still unclear, but Thomas knew it was crucial. He felt a strange mix of dread and curiosity, eager to uncover the truth but wary of what it might reveal. Finally, an official returned, her face grave. She informed Thomas that they had confirmed the pin's history. It had indeed belonged to Judge Harris's father, a renowned lawyer who had disappeared under mysterious circumstances decades ago. The pin was a painful reminder of a lost past, a symbol of unresolved grief. Judge Harris's reaction to seeing it was a testament to the depth of that pain, a stark reminder of the personal cost of his father's absence. As the courtroom slowly emptied, Thomas found himself in a daze. The pin felt heavy in his hand, laden with questions and significance. A clerk approached him, her expression a mix of urgency and sympathy. She gently informed him that he needed to follow her to a private room. Thomas complied, his mind racing with the events that had just unfolded. The pin, his grandfather's treasured possession, had somehow caused Judge Harris to collapse. The private room was stark and quiet, a stark contrast to the chaotic courtroom. Thomas sat down, his thoughts a whirlwind. Moments later, a court official entered, her demeanor serious yet calm. She introduced herself and began explaining that Judge Harris had experienced an extreme emotional reaction upon seeing the pin. Thomas listened intently, trying to grasp the gravity of the situation. The pin's connection to the judge was still a mystery to him. The official recounted how Judge Harris had been visibly impacted when he noticed the pin in Thomas's hand. It was clear that the pin held a deep, personal significance for the judge, one that had triggered a powerful response. Thomas felt a chill run down his spine. The pin, a symbol of his own family's legacy, was intertwined with the judge's past in a way he hadn't anticipated. The official's words confirmed his suspicions. The pin was no ordinary object. Thomas's thoughts turned to his grandfather. He wondered if his grandfather had ever crossed paths with Judge Harris's father, if their lives had intersected in some profound way. The official continued, explaining that Judge Harris had been overwhelmed by a flood of emotions upon seeing the pin. The judge's father had disappeared under mysterious circumstances, and the pin was a painful reminder of that loss. Thomas's heart ached for the judge, understanding the deep-seated pain that must have resurfaced. As the official spoke, Thomas felt a growing sense of responsibility. The pin, once a simple heirloom, was now a catalyst for uncovering buried truths. He knew he had to learn more about its history, about the connection between his grandfather and the judge's father. The official asked Thomas to remain available for further discussions. The hearing would be rescheduled, giving Judge Harris time to recover. Thomas nodded, still processing the weight of what he had learned. Left alone in the room, Thomas couldn't shake the feeling that the pin was more than just a link to his grandfather. It was a key to a past filled with secrets and unresolved grief. He held it in his hand, the engravings now seeming to hold stories untold. He knew he had to find out more about Judge Harris's father to understand the bond that tied their families together. The pin was a bridge between them, and Thomas felt compelled to cross it. Minutes turned into hours as Thomas sat in the room, lost in thought. The pin, with its rich history, had taken on a new significance. He wondered about the judge's father, about the life he had led and the legacy he had left behind. Thomas felt a deep sense of empathy for Judge Harris, understanding the pain of losing a father and the unanswered questions that lingered. The pin was a symbol of their shared loss, a connection that transcended time. The door opened, and another official entered, breaking Thomas's reverie. She confirmed that Judge Harris was stable and would be given time to recover. She also mentioned that the judge wished to speak with Thomas when he was ready. Thomas felt a mix of relief and anticipation. He knew that the conversation with Judge Harris would be crucial, not just for the case but for uncovering the truth behind the pin. He agreed to wait, feeling the weight of the moment. As Thomas waited, he reflected on his own journey. The pin had always been a source of strength and connection to his grandfather. Now, it was a link to a deeper mystery, one that spanned generations. Thomas felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was not just a lawyer fighting a case. He was a guardian of his family's legacy, a seeker of truth. The pin, with its intricate engravings and storied past, was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. When the official returned, she informed Thomas that Judge Harris was ready to see him. Thomas stood, feeling a surge of determination. The pin was still in his hand, a steadfast companion in this unfolding journey. He followed the official to the judge's chambers, his mind filled with questions and a growing sense of anticipation. He was ready to uncover the truth, to understand the connection between his family and Judge Harris's. Thomas entered the judge's chambers, the room filled with an air of solemnity. Judge Harris sat behind his desk, looking tired but resolute. The judge gestured for Thomas to sit, his eyes lingering on the pin. There was a moment of silence, a shared understanding of the gravity of the situation. Judge Harris began to speak, his voice steady but tinged with emotion. He recounted the story of his father, the disappearance, and the significance of the pin. Thomas listened, his heart heavy with empathy. Judge Harris spoke of his father's brilliance, his dedication to justice, and the mysterious circumstances surrounding his disappearance. The pin, a cherished possession, had been a symbol of hope and despair for the judge. Thomas felt a deep connection to the story, understanding the weight of legacy and the pain of loss. The pin was more than just an object. It was a bridge between their families, a symbol of their shared journey. As Thomas sat in Judge Harris's chambers, the air was thick with unspoken emotions. Judge Harris took a deep breath, his eyes fixed on the pin. He began to speak, his voice steady but filled with a poignant mix of sorrow and nostalgia. He revealed that the pin had belonged to his father, a brilliant lawyer who had mysteriously disappeared decades ago. The pin was a tangible link to his past, a relic of a life abruptly cut short. Thomas listened intently, his heart heavy with empathy. Judge Harris recounted how his father had been a towering figure in his life, a man of integrity and brilliance. The pin had been his constant companion, a symbol of his dedication to the law and his unwavering commitment to justice. For Judge Harris, the pin was not just an object but a profound connection to the man he had idolized and lost too soon. The judge's voice wavered slightly as he described the day his father disappeared. It was a day etched in his memory, filled with confusion and unanswered questions. His father had left for work, carrying the pin as always, but had never returned. The suddenness of the loss had been devastating, leaving a void that no amount of time could fill. The pin, found later among his father's belongings, was a painful reminder of the unresolved mystery. Thomas felt a deep kinship with Judge Harris, understanding the weight of carrying a family legacy. The pin, once a symbol of his own grandfather's legacy, was now revealed to be a part of a larger, intertwined history. It connected their families in a way neither had anticipated. The realization was both comforting and haunting, a testament to the enduring bonds of love and loss. Judge Harris continued, explaining how the pin had been a source of solace and anguish. Every time he looked at it, he was reminded of his father's brilliance and the void left by his disappearance. The pin was a symbol of unfinished business, of dreams unfulfilled and questions unanswered. It had been a silent witness to his father's life, and now it was a bridge to Thomas's grandfather, connecting their stories in a web of fate. As the judge spoke, Thomas felt a surge of determination. The pin was more than a family heirloom. It was a key to understanding their shared history. He realized that their meeting was not a mere coincidence, but a convergence of destinies. The pin had brought them together, urging them to uncover the truths buried in the past. Thomas vowed to help Judge Harris find closure, to honor the legacy of both their fathers. The room was silent as Judge Harris finished his story. The weight of his words hung in the air, a testament to the enduring pain of loss. Thomas felt a deep respect for the judge, admiring his strength and resilience. He knew that their paths were now intertwined, bound by the shared history of the pin. It was a symbol of their fathers' legacies and their own journey toward understanding and closure. Judge Harris looked at Thomas, his eyes filled with a mixture of gratitude and sorrow. He expressed his appreciation for Thomas's patience and understanding. The pin, once a source of pain, now held the promise of healing. Thomas nodded, feeling a profound sense of responsibility. He knew that their journey was just beginning, that the pin would guide them toward the answers they sought. Thomas left the judge's chambers with a renewed sense of purpose. The pin, a silent witness to their fathers' lives, was now a beacon of hope. He was determined to uncover the truth, to piece together the fragments of their shared history. The journey ahead was uncertain, but Thomas felt ready to face it. The pin, with its rich history and deep significance, was a testament to the enduring power of legacy. As he walked through the courthouse, Thomas felt a surge of resolve. The pin had revealed its secrets, connecting him to Judge Harris in an unexpected and profound way. He knew that their stories were intertwined, bound by the threads of fate and family. The pin was a symbol of their journey, a reminder of the strength and resilience that defined them. Together, they would uncover the truth and honor the legacies of their fathers. The courthouse was quiet as Thomas stepped outside, the weight of the pin a comforting presence in his pocket. He looked up at the sky, feeling a sense of peace. The journey ahead would be challenging, but he was ready. The pin had brought them together, guiding them toward understanding and closure. With Judge Harris by his side, Thomas felt a deep sense of purpose. They were connected by the past, but their journey was just beginning. In the quiet of Judge Harris's chambers, the atmosphere was thick with the weight of untold stories. The judge, his demeanor softened by the shared history of the pin, invited Thomas to sit closer. He began to recount the story of his father, his voice tinged with both pride and sorrow. His father, Samuel Harris, had been a brilliant lawyer, known for his sharp mind and unwavering commitment to justice. Samuel Harris had been a towering figure in his son's life. From a young age, Judge Harris had admired his father's intellect and integrity. He recalled the late nights when Samuel would sit at his desk, the pen in hand, meticulously preparing for cases that would shape the course of many lives. The pen was always there, a silent witness to his father's dedication and passion. It was more than just a tool. It was a symbol of his father's legacy. As he spoke, Judge Harris's eyes grew distant, lost in the memories of his father. He described how his father had been a beacon of hope and strength, both in the courtroom and at home. Samuel's presence was a source of comfort and inspiration, his wisdom a guiding light for his family. The pen, with its intricate engravings, had always been a part of these moments, a constant reminder of Samuel's dedication to his craft and his family. The judge's voice wavered as he recounted the day his father disappeared. It was a day that had started like any other, with Samuel leaving for work, the pen tucked into his breast pocket. But he never returned. The suddenness of his disappearance left a void that nothing could fill. Judge Harris spoke of the desperate search, the unanswered questions, and the lingering pain of not knowing what had happened. The pen, found among his father's belongings, became a painful symbol of that loss. Thomas listened with a heavy heart, feeling the weight of Judge Harris's grief. The pin, once a symbol of strength and connection, now held a dual significance. It was a reminder of a brilliant lawyer and a loving father, but also a symbol of unresolved pain and mystery. Judge Harris explained how he had kept the pin as a way to stay connected to his father's memory, a beacon of hope amidst the sadness. Judge Harris shared how the pin had helped him through the toughest moments of his life. Every time he felt overwhelmed by the demands of his career or the burden of his father's absence, he would hold the pin and feel a sense of connection and guidance. It was as if his father's spirit was with him, offering silent encouragement and wisdom. The pin became a symbol of resilience, a reminder that even in the face of great loss, there was still hope. The judge's story resonated deeply with Thomas. He understood the profound impact a parent could have, the legacy that lived on through small, seemingly insignificant objects. The pin was a testament to Samuel Harris's influence, a bridge between the past and the present. Thomas felt a renewed sense of purpose, a desire to honor both their father's legacies by uncovering the truth and finding closure. Judge Harris expressed his gratitude for Thomas's patience and understanding. He admitted that seeing the pin had stirred up emotions he had long kept buried. It was a painful reminder, but also a beacon of hope. The pin's presence in the courtroom that day had been a catalyst for this conversation, a chance to share his father's story and the profound impact it had on his life. Thomas nodded, feeling the weight of their shared journey. As their conversation drew to a close, Judge Harris looked at Thomas with a newfound sense of camaraderie. They were connected by more than just the pin. They were bound by the shared experiences of loss, legacy, and the pursuit of justice. The judge expressed his hope that together, they could uncover the truth about Samuel's disappearance and bring some measure of peace to their families. Thomas felt a deep sense of commitment to this quest. Thomas left the judge's chambers with a renewed sense of purpose. The pin, a symbol of both hope and sadness, was now a guide on their journey to uncover the truth. He felt a profound connection to Judge Harris, united by their shared history and the legacy of their fathers. The pin was more than just an object. It was a beacon of resilience, a testament to the enduring power of love and memory. As he walked through the courthouse, Thomas felt a sense of determination. The pin, with its intricate engravings and rich history, was a reminder of the strength and courage that defined their families. He knew that the road ahead would be challenging, but he was ready to face it. With Judge Harris by his side, Thomas felt confident that they could uncover the truth and honor the legacies of their fathers. The pin was their guide, a symbol of hope and resilience. The conversation with Judge Harris had left a profound impact on Thomas. The judge's story resonated deeply, and he couldn't shake the feeling that he needed to do something meaningful. As he held the pin, now understanding its full significance, he made a decision that felt both right and necessary. The pin had been a symbol of his own family's legacy, but it also held the key to healing old wounds for Judge Harris. The next morning, Thomas arrived at the courthouse early, the pin carefully wrapped in a piece of cloth. He requested a private meeting with Judge Harris before the hearing resumed. The judge, still recovering from the emotional turmoil of the previous day, agreed. When Thomas entered the chambers, he could see the lingering sadness in the judge's eyes, but also a glimmer of hope. They both knew that the pin was more than just an heirloom. It was a bridge between their pasts. Thomas took a deep breath and placed the wrapped pin on the judge's desk. "This belongs to you," he said softly. Judge Harris looked at him, a mix of surprise and gratitude in his eyes. "Your father would have wanted you to have it," Thomas continued. "It's been a part of my family, but it's clear that it has always been meant for yours. I hope it can bring you some peace." Judge Harris was visibly moved. He unwrapped the pin slowly, his hands trembling slightly. Holding it again, he seemed to be transported back to the days when his father was still a part of his life. Tears welled up in his eyes, and for a moment, the stern, composed judge was just a son reconnecting with his father. "Thank you, Thomas," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "This means more to me than you can ever know." The exchange marked a turning point for both men. The pen had been a symbol of loss and legacy, but now it was also a symbol of healing and connection. Judge Harris took a moment to compose himself, then looked at Thomas with a new sense of camaraderie. "Let's get back to the hearing," he said, his voice stronger. "We have work to do." Thomas nodded, feeling a deep sense of fulfillment. They walked back to the courtroom together, united by the shared history of the pen. The courtroom buzzed with anticipation as the hearing resumed. There was a palpable change in the atmosphere, a sense of empathy and understanding that had not been there before. Judge Harris presided with a renewed vigor, his usual sternness tempered by a newfound warmth. Thomas felt the connection between them, a silent acknowledgement of their shared journey. The pen, now resting safely with Judge Harris, had brought them closer in ways neither had expected. As Thomas presented his arguments, he felt a surge of confidence. The bond he had formed with Judge Harris gave him a sense of support and strength. The judge listened intently, his eyes often flicking to the pen as if drawing strength from it. The courtroom felt different, less adversarial and more collaborative. The presence of the pen had transformed the proceedings, infusing them with a sense of purpose and unity. Throughout the hearing, there were moments of silent understanding between Thomas and Judge Harris. The pen, a link to their father's legacies, had created a bond that transcended the courtroom. Thomas noticed the judge's demeanor softening, his rulings fair but compassionate. It was as if the pen had reminded him of the human stories behind the legal arguments, the lives affected by their decisions. Thomas felt a deep respect for the judge and a renewed commitment to his own career. As the day progressed, the hearing moved forward with a sense of shared purpose. Thomas and Judge Harris worked in unison, their interactions marked by mutual respect and empathy. The pen had not only connected them to their pasts, but also forged a new path for their futures. They were more than just lawyer and judge. They were partners in a journey of justice and healing. Thomas felt a profound sense of fulfillment, knowing that the pen had brought them together in this unique way. When the hearing concluded, there was a sense of resolution in the air. The courtroom, once filled with tension and uncertainty, now felt like a place of hope and possibility. Judge Harris thanked everyone for their patience and professionalism, his eyes lingering on Thomas with a look of gratitude. Thomas knew that their journey was far from over, but the pen had set them on a path of understanding and connection that would guide them forward. In the days that followed, Thomas and Judge Harris stayed in touch, their bond growing stronger with each conversation. They shared stories of their fathers, finding solace in their shared experiences. The pen, once a symbol of loss and legacy, had become a beacon of hope and healing. Thomas felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey he had embarked on, knowing that it had brought him closer to understanding his own place in the world. The pen now rested in Judge Harris's office, a silent testament to the power of connection and the enduring legacy of their fathers. Thomas felt a sense of peace, knowing that he had done the right thing. The pen had brought them together, healing old wounds and forging new bonds. As he looked toward the future, Thomas knew that he and Judge Harris would continue to honor their father's legacies, guided by the wisdom and strength of the pen. As Thomas and Judge Harris embark on their journey of healing and understanding, we invite you to watch the next compelling story, Lost in the Woods. A boy saw a pregnant woman tied up. This encounter changed their lives forever. Discover how a chance encounter in the wilderness unravels a tale of bravery, compassion, and unexpected bonds. Click the video on your screen to dive into this gripping narrative. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss our daily dose of emotional and inspiring stories. Also, check the pinned comment for a link to our Buy Me a Coffee page. Your support helps us continue bringing you these heartfelt stories every day.